Because I run a job board, I talk to applicants almost every day. And many of the people I meet make the same mistake. They have no clear job search goals. So they apply everywhere, every day, all day long. You might think it's smart to send lots of applications. After all, it's a numbers game, right? It's not. The more you narrow your search, the easier everything gets, and the happier you'll be in your next job. Stop chasing every lead. Instead, focus on what you really want. Now, figuring out your goals can be hard, but we have a MaxList resource that can help. Finding focus in your job search. Go to maxlist.org/focus. Our free step-by-step MaxList guide will help you create your own job search goals. Get your copy today. Visit maxlist.org/focus. Again, that's maxlist.org/focus. This is Find Your Dream Job, the podcast that helps you get hired, have the career you want, and make a difference in life. I'm your host, Mac Pritchard. I'm also the founder of MaxList. It's a job board in the Pacific Northwest that helps you find a fulfilling career. Every Wednesday, I talk to a different expert about the tools you need to get the work you want. You know you need to network when you do a job search, but connecting with others may make you feel awkward. Felicia Ann is here to talk about how to overcome the discomfort of networking. She's a career coach and the host of the Trill MBA show. Her podcast empowers Black women to thrive in corporate America. She joins us from Atlanta, Georgia. Well, Felicia, let's start with a question about networking. Why does it make so many people feel uncomfortable?
Well, Max, simply because we're human. I think we are in our heads a lot. And a lot of times people don't understand that everybody's afraid of the unknown and uncertainty. And so when you're reaching out to somebody you don't know and you haven't yet connected or established trust with, that can be scary.
Some people might say that you have to be an extrovert to network. Has that been your experience, Felicia?
Actually, the best networkers are confident introverts because they're very observant, they pay attention, and they're very thoughtful. And so when they do speak, it has a greater impact. But the extroverts like myself, we are gregarious and we love to take up space and we have to work to make room for our introverted friends. But extroverts and introverts are both subject to be afraid of networking.
What would you say to introverts who might be surprised to hear you make that point about the skills and strengths that introverts bring to networking? Why might people not recognize those qualities?
Because we are conditioned and we are told these stories, and it goes back to recognizing limiting beliefs. And I think introverts who really know themselves know that they can turn it on when they need to. So it's just about having confidence.
In addition to confidence, are there other qualities that good networkers have that really in the end make it a skill that anybody can learn?
Absolutely. People simply need to get out of their own way. A lot of us are just afraid. And so the first thing that we need to do is own our fear and be honest about the fear we have around networking, that discomfort around feeling fake or feeling like, oh, I'm only reaching out to this person because I want something and I may not have something to offer in return. We have to let go of that. We have to own our value as human beings. Everybody has something to bring to the table. And even if it's not an even exchange in the beginning, over time, as you establish rapport and connection, you'll start to see where synergies form. But if you continue to be afraid to just reach out and say, hi, I love what you're doing, or you're in this role that I would be so interested to learn more about, then you never get to discover what that is.
I want to talk more about fear and networking, but Before we get there, Felicia, there's some myths about networking out there that I'd like you to address. And one that I hear a lot is that there's one way to network, period. Has that been your experience in working with your clients?
No, there's multiple ways to network because we have multiple levels of connecting points with other humans. So you can network with your friends, your closest friends, the people who are safe with you. I think sometimes we get comfortable with our friends and our family, and we don't consider them as a part of our working network in our career network. We try to separate life and work when actually your career is a part of your life. So that's one level. The other level are people that you work with, no matter what level they are, up or down. I think some people discount also our administrative and executive assistants. They hold so much power and influence, and a lot of people just feel like either I can't talk to them or I shouldn't bother them, or some people may think so highly of themselves that, oh, well, that's just the admin. Well, I'm here to tell you the admin is powerful. So I think people just need to open their eyes and pay attention and be curious about other people. And that's where you start to realize you have these multiple layers of opportunity to connect with people. And you never know where those connections are going to lead, especially when you're searching for your dream job.
How do you do that in a strategic way? Because it might sound overwhelming to a listener to think, well, I need to network with everybody all the time. But when you're doing a job search, how can you be both thoughtful and professional in pursuit of the goal that you've set for your search?
Well, first, it starts with that goal, right? And making sure that you have clarity around what you want to accomplish in your career and where you're going. And then the next step when it comes to networking is you want to look for people who are doing what you're trying to do, or they've accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. And so I always start with 10. 10 is a nice round number, and everyone knows 10 people. So you want to write down 10 people you admire, 10 people that also you may or may not know, and that's fine, but they are doing the work that you want to do, or they've been down that path and they could have information for you that you may not have and you're seeking. And so you want to write down like these 10 people, and then you want to rank them in order of, do I know this person? Do I not know this person? And if I know this person, how well do I know them? Do I have their phone number? Can I pick up the phone and call them? And you want to start from the inside out. So you want to start with people that you know and you trust and you have a connection with, and then you work your way to people you don't know. And this warms you up, and it takes some of that fear or some of that edge off of making those connections with people that you don't know.
I want to dig into this as well in the second segment, Felicia, about how to identify these people and work with them when you do your networking in a strategic way. But before we break, let me ask you this. What happens to people who don't network when they do a job search? What's been your experience?
Well, my experience is also backed by social science. There are a number of studies that show people who opt out of networking severely limit their career opportunities. Most jobs, what I find, aren't even posted. And I know you have Max List, and that is wonderful. And there are a lot of opportunities on job boards, but there are also a lot of opportunities coming that sometimes get filled before they're even posted. And so you want to, as a job seeker, be in a position where your network is bringing opportunities to you, but that won't happen if you don't speak up and tell them that I'm in the market and here's what I'm looking for and here's how I need your help. And that's why networking is so important.
Well, let's pause there. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, Felicia Ann will continue to share her advice about how to overcome the discomfort of networking. Here's something I'd like us Americans to get better at this year. Something that our European friends beat us at in spades. It's speaking more than one language. And you can do it sooner than you think with Babbel. Babbel's tips and tools are inspired by the real-life stuff you actually need when communicating. With a focus on conversation, you'll be ready to talk wherever you go. I studied Spanish in Mexico City one summer when I was in college, and a few years ago, I took a sabbatical in Madrid for a month and signed up for daily Spanish classes. Using Babbel this past year has helped me keep and improve the Spanish I learned in Mexico and Spain. Because if you don't use a language, you will lose it. Whether you're learning a new language or you want to improve what you know, Babbel can help. Find out for yourself. Let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting our listeners 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/dreamjob. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/dreamjob. Spelled BABBEL.com/dreamjob. Babbel.com/dreamjob. Rules and restrictions may apply. Have you ever been asked this in a job interview? Tell me about a time when you didn't agree with your boss. What would you say? This is what's called a behavioral interview question, and it's a common tactic. Employers use this kind of question to explore your fit for a job based on your past experience. It can be an easy question to answer if you have the right strategy. I show you how to answer these gotcha questions in our free Max List guide, 100 Behavioral Interview Questions You Need to Know. To get your copy, visit maxlist.org/questions. You'll also learn 4 simple steps for answering any behavioral interview question. Again, that's maxlist.org/questions. You can count on getting these questions in your next interview. Why not get the answers before you walk into the interview room? Go to maxlist.org/questions. We're back in the Max List studio. I'm talking with Felicia Ann. She's a career coach and the host of the Trill MBA show. Her podcast empowers Black women to thrive in corporate America. And she joins us from Atlanta, Georgia. Now, Felicia, before the break, we were talking about how to overcome the discomfort of networking, and we talked about different networking styles, myths, and what might stop people from feeling good about networking. And you touched on you touched on the importance of fear, and you also talked about the importance of being strategic when networking. Let's talk more about fear and how to manage it. If you're feeling uncomfortable with networking, what have you seen to be effective ways to manage that fear and overcome it?
Make it a group activity. And what I mean by that is ask your closest friends and family to connect you to people that they know. Those warm connections can breed some familiarity. And for humans, that's everything, because then it doesn't feel unknown and uncertain. And you don't feel the pressure of showing up in a way that makes the person like you. They already have a connection to you, and they already will give you that grace.
And what kinds of networking activities are we talking about? Is it going to professional events? Is it meeting with people one-on-one? Well, give us some specific examples.
Those are all great things to do. Go to networking events in your local area when you're job searching, going to happy hours with old colleagues from other companies and staying connected to companies you've worked with before. You never know when opportunities might arise there. All those things are great. But what I really want to focus on when it comes to overcoming the fear, and a lot of that is you fear being judged, is to start with your circle. Start with the people you know and work outward to people they know. And that is the most powerful way to connect with people and like-minded people. Most hiring managers, they hire people from their network. And I know a lot of job seekers will get a job because they applied online and they got an interview and they went through that whole process. And yes, that happens a lot. But also, what happens is somebody will call me and say, "Hey, do you know somebody in your network who could fill this role? I need it filled quickly, and I'm going to take a couple shortcuts and I need to make sure I find the right person." And they lean into already established areas of trust. And that's what networking helps you to uncover and give you more opportunity to meet people who may be a fit for you on your job search.
Why do hiring managers tap into their network and reach out to their colleagues and friends and family when they're filling a position?
Because it's a very human reaction. Human beings are designed in a way to be communal, and trust is built through the connections that we know. And so, because trust is huge for human beings, and that I need to trust that you have skin in the game, that you are someone that I can rely on because of the strength of our network, there's already built in expectations. So, for example, if I was to refer somebody to a friend of mine who was a hiring manager and hiring for a role on their team, I would be very particular about who I'm referring. And I would make sure that this person was ready to have a great conversation and present themselves in a way that would not only make them look good, but make me look good and also make my friend look good. So that's the power of networks, is there's this trust that everybody's showing up in their A game.
You mentioned a moment ago the starting with the people who know you well, and I've met job seekers who struggle with that. They're not. What stops people from contacting colleagues or friends or family and asking them for help? And it's what specific fear is at play there, Felicia?
There's judgment and shame. That's what's driving those fears. So judgment of, I have to ask somebody for help. That may make me look weak. You know, our egos tell us these lies. Asking for help is actually a strength. And then you have the fear of the shame, like, oh, I don't have a job, or, oh, I need help with making this connection. I should be able to do it on my own. You know, all of us experience some of that noise from, I don't know where we pick this stuff up in society, but we all do. And it's a very human thing. But having the courage to reach out and let somebody be a blessing to you, letting a friend be a blessing to you, it helps us all. And it makes us all realize that we are not alone, and we can work together to all get to where we're trying to go. And so if we can overcome those feelings, because that's all they are, they're just initial feelings and reactions. They're not rooted in the truth of the matter, is that people do want to help you and you want to help other people. And so if we can put those feelings aside around the fear of networking, we can all create great opportunities for each other.
So you start with the people who know you well. And in the first segment, you mentioned making a list of 10 people you admire who have great careers and reaching out to them as well. Tell us more about how you create that list, and when you have it, when you make that contact, what are you specifically asking for?
I always tell people, get out of your own way, get out of your head. What you want to do is be curious. And so when you reach out to either people you know or people you don't know, both times what you want to say is, hey, I've seen this about your career. So it could be something on LinkedIn that they posted. It could be something in the news that happened for their company that they're currently at. You explain, I'm curious, how did that happen? And I'm intrigued by that type of work. I'd love to learn more about you. That's all you have to do, is actually just be curious about this other person, whether you know them personally and you know them well, or you don't know them at all. As long as you get curious about what they're up to and you get them talking about them, that's where the learning and the connecting starts. It goes back to the human need of, I trust you when I'm able to share about myself. So you're building that connection and that trust when you ask people about themselves.
How does reaching out to people who you admire and you likely may not have met help you overcome your discomfort with networking?
It helps you if you start with people you know, because it creates a bit of a safe space with the people that you know. And you start to build that muscle of asking questions and getting comfortable having the conversation. It also helps you with somebody that you know and trust if you aren't quite secure about your story and you haven't finished crafting it. Telling your story to somebody you trust, know, and they know you do good work. Maybe you're not articulating yourself in the best way. Those people are going to help you refine that articulation, and you're building that muscle. So then you can go to people that you don't know, or you can go to warm connections, and you've practiced. And now that you've practiced, now you should feel more comfortable and confident to talk to people who are not immediately in your network, maybe your third connections, all your weak ties. And studies have shown that the weak tie connections, people you're secondarily or even a third level connection with on LinkedIn, that's where a lot of our dream job opportunities lie.
Well, it's been a terrific conversation, Felicia. Now, tell us what's next for you.
I am launching the new season of the Trill MBA show. We will be fully video, and this year we will have more episodes. I'm so excited about that. In addition, I'll be offering more resources, and I'll be focusing on going to corporations and helping them retain their high performing talent. We have a program that focuses on helping people communicate for impact and grow their careers where they are. So we're really working on saving companies money and helping high performers find the jobs that they really, really want in the companies that they love.
Terrific. Well, I know listeners can learn more about you, your work, and your company by visiting your website, trillmba.com. We'll be sure to include that in the show notes. And that you also invite listeners to connect with you on LinkedIn. And when you do reach out to Felicia, please mention you heard her on Find Your Dream Job. Now, Felicia, given all the great advice you've shared today, what's the one thing you want a listener to remember about how to overcome the discomfort of networking?
I want people to remember that it's a skill. And just like all the other skills that you've learned along the way, you're never too old. It's never too late to pick up the phone and have a conversation. And that's all networking really, truly is. It's just having the conversation, learning more about somebody new, and sharing your story with them. So there's no need to be afraid. People can't hurt you. We all just need to love on each other. So take a deep breath and jump in unashamed and unafraid.
Next week, our guest will be Angie Callan. She's an award-winning career and business coach and the founder of Career Benders. Her company helps professionals, executives, and entrepreneurs navigate today's workforce. Angie also hosts the No More Mondays podcast. Felicia has given us terrific advice today about how to overcome your discomfort with networking. But how do you remain true to yourself as you reach out to others? Join us next Wednesday when Angie Callan and I talk about how to network authentically in your job search. Until next time, thanks for letting us help you find your dream job. This show is produced by Max List. Susan Thornton-Hoff schedules our guests and writes our newsletter. Lisa Kislenberry-Anderson manages our social media. Our sound engineer and editor is Matt Fiorillo. Dawn Mole creates our transcripts, and our music is by Freddie Trujillo. This is Mac Pritchard. See you next week.